In the crowded streets of New York City, a new chapter in American politics began. A man named Zohran Mamdani, born to an immigrant family from Uganda and raised in Queens, became the first Muslim and South Asian mayor of the world's most diverse city, New York. But his rise was not just about identity or background. It was about challenging the system, confronting power, and redefining what American leadership means in the 21st century. A new face in American politics. Zohran Mamdani's story is not that of privilege or political dynasty. He grew up watching his parents, one a filmmaker and the other a social activist, working tirelessly to make a difference. This inspired him to enter politics not as a career, but as a cause. Before becoming mayor, Mamdani served as a member of the New York State Assembly, where he represented Astoria, Queens. There, he quickly became known as a voice for justice, equality, and the marginalized, fighting for housing rights, affordable health care, and the end of racial discrimination in policing. But 2025 brought a turning point. America was once again divided, politically, socially, and economically. Donald Trump's political comeback had reignited the debates over nationalism, immigration, and American identity. In that chaos, Zohran Mamdani emerged as a symbol of unity and courage. The election that shook America. When Zohran Mamdani announced his candidacy for mayor, few believed he could win. His opponents mocked him as too idealistic, too progressive, and even too Muslim for New York. But Mamdani turned every criticism into motivation. His campaign slogan was simple yet powerful: justice for all, not just for some. He spoke directly to ordinary people, workers, immigrants, students, and families struggling to survive in one of the richest cities on earth. He didn't use the language of politicians, he spoke the language of hope. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump, who had once dominated American politics, dismissed Mamdani as a temporary trend. Trump claimed that the radical left was destroying America's traditions. But Mamdani didn't stay silent. In one of the most watched interviews of the year, he responded calmly, "If standing for justice and equality makes me radical, then maybe America needs a little more radical love." That moment went viral, millions of views within hours. It wasn't just a reply, it was a redefinition of American patriotism. From grassroots to City Hall, Mamdani's campaign was unlike any other. He refused big corporate donations, depending instead on small grassroots contributions. Volunteers from every neighborhood, religion, and ethnicity joined hands to spread his message. He walked through the poorest boroughs, visited shelters, and talked to families who had lost hope in politics. People saw in him something real, a leader who listened. On election night, the world watched as the results came in. When the final votes were counted, Zohran Mamdani had won with 53% of the vote, defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo and other powerful rivals. For the first time, New York City had chosen a leader who represented the voice of a new generation. The message to Donald Trump, the victory speech, became historic. Mamdani stood before thousands of supporters and said, "This victory is not mine alone. It belongs to every person who was told they don't belong, every immigrant, every worker, every believer in justice. We are not here to fight America. We are here to heal it." It was seen as a direct message to Donald Trump, a rejection of hate politics and a call for inclusion. Trump responded, calling him another socialist experiment. But Mamdani didn't engage in a war of words. He answered through policy, raising the minimum wage, expanding healthcare programs, and investing in education and renewable energy. In doing so, he quietly proved that progressive politics could deliver real results. A new political era. Zohran Mamdani's election was more than a local event. It was a national turning point. For decades, American politics had been dominated by money, media, and old power networks. Now, a man from an immigrant background, a practicing Muslim, had broken that cycle through sheer determination. Political analysts called it the dawn of the multicultural America. For young people, especially minorities, Mamdani became a symbol of hope and representation. His success also reignited debates about the future of the Democratic Party, pushing it toward progressive values. Many began comparing him to leaders like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but Mamdani kept his identity distinct, rooted in faith, compassion, and justice. The political challenge to Trumpism, the ideology of nationalism, division, and economic populism, had reshaped U.S. politics since 2016. But Mamdani's leadership offered an antidote. Instead of fear, he preached empathy. Instead of walls, he built bridges. His administration's early policies focused on affordable housing for low-income families, healthcare access regardless of immigration status, environmental reforms to combat climate change, cultural unity, programs to promote interfaith harmony. Each of these steps directly countered the Trump-era policies that favored exclusion over inclusion. Political observers noted that Mamdani was not just opposing Trump. He was redefining leadership for the next generation of America. From resistance to renewal. In interviews, Mamdani often says, "I don't want to be remembered as the mayor who fought Trump. I want to be remembered as the mayor who rebuilt faith in humanity." That line sums up his vision. He sees politics not as a battlefield, but as a moral responsibility. His calm tone, articulate speeches, and focus on justice have begun to influence mayors across other American cities. Under his leadership, New York City started becoming a model of inclusive governance, where Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, and atheists all feel equally represented. The global impact, Zohran Mamdani's story has gone far beyond America. In countries like the UK, Canada, and even in parts of the Muslim world, his victory is seen as a symbol of change, proof that a person's faith can coexist with democracy and progress. Global media now refers to him as the face of the new America. And rightly so, because in an age where politics is often about division, he represents connection, conclusion, a leader for the future. Zohran Mamdani's rise is not just political, it's inspirational. He didn't inherit power, he earned it. He didn't silence critics, he transformed them through compassion. And in doing so, he showed that America's strength doesn't lie in fear or superiority, but in its ability to accept, evolve, and unite. So when history looks back on this moment, it will remember not only the man who challenged Donald Trump, but the leader who changed the story of America itself.